Morning, ma'am.
Morning. Okay, is the book visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So last time we did about the various types of settlements where we talked of permanent settlement and temporary settlements. We also talked of the various economic bases on which the settlements are made, like the rural settlements, which are basically confined to the villages. Then we talked of the compact settlements, which are closely intact, then scattered settlements, which are sparsely uh, situated. Then we talked of the urban settlements, and where we talked of various types of towns. We talked of administrative towns, we talked of defensive towns, cultural towns, collection centers, industrial towns. Now, these are the various varieties according to the work they are most suited to do. Clear? Now, today we take up to transportation. Transport is the means by which movement of people and goods become easy. In the earlier times, it was very difficult to move from one place to another. People had to walk for long distances and carry their goods with the help of animals. Invention of the wheel opened the door of easier transport. With that, the invention now developments in transport took place. The early people made bullock carts to carry their goods. With the passage of time, different means of transport developed. But even today, people are using animals. For example, camels in deserts, donkeys on plains and mountains, yak in Tibet, llamas in the Andes Mountains in South America, etc., are still used for transport purposes. The early traders from other countries used to take several months to reach India. They took either the sea route or the land route. But aeroplanes have made this easy and made travel faster. Due to modern means of transport, the whole world has been converted into a global village. Now it only takes 6 to 8 hours to travel from India to Europe. These means of transport thus save energy and time. There are four major means of transport, that is land transport, which includes railways and roadways, then water transport and air transport. Okay, so let us talk of it in detail now. Before I move on, let us talk of what we have read just now. Now, in the earlier times when the transport was just by foot, the early people used to travel from one place to another on their legs. Great, lately, after that, they discovered that animals could be used to carry their burdens. And so the animals were used by the early man for beasts of burden. Then, with the invention of wheel, it opened the first door for transportation, where the goods could be carried on carts and bullock carts, etc., driven by animals. Now, these animals were again till that time were used as beasts of burden until date. In many places, there are people who are dependent on animals, and they gave example of like camels in deserts, then donkeys on plains and mountains, etc., yak and llamas. So all these animals are still used as means of transport. Apart from that, the people used to travel for years, for days, uh, from one place to another till the proper transportation was invented. But with the coming of technology, there was advancement, and today we have the vehicles running on roads all over, covering the distances in no time. So basically, the means of transport saved us not only from the energy point of view, but also they save the time for us. And there are many means of transport. There are four major means of transport, which they have divided as land transport, and in that only they have taken two. One is railways and roadways. And if we take them separately, then there are four means of transport: railways, roadways, water transport, and air transport. But when we distribute them categorically, we'll say land transport, and in that land transport, we include the roadways and the railways. So we now come on to the land transport, which means traveling on land by road or by, or walking on soil. So land transport is of two types. Mainly, they are of roadways and railways. These means of transport, they run over the land. Bikes, cars, buses, trucks, trains, etc., are the medium of land transport. And if we categorically divide them, we see that the roadways and railways. So for the roadways, let us see, roads are the most common means of transport. Just if you peep out of your house, you will find the road. So it is the easiest and the commonmost way of transport. It is best suited for short distances. Only roads provide us door to door services. Now, road is the only means of transport which can fetch you towards door to door services. That means even if you travel by air or by railways, you or by waterways, you cannot reach to your doorstep. So it is only through the roadways which give you this facility of reaching to your doorstep. Now, these also work as feeders for many other means of transport. Roads can be built on any types of terrain, but the plains have a dense network of roads. These may be built in deserts, forests, and even high mountains. Manali Leh Highway in the Himalayas is the mountains, so it's the world's highest highway. Now, roads can be metalled, that is, they could be pakka, and unmetalled, that means it could be kacha, made up of mud and bricks, etc. Roads built underground are called subways or underpaths, while the raised part of roads are called flyovers. So these are the few types which they have told you. The metalled, that means the well cemented roads, those are called pakka roads. The village type roads, the ones which are kacha, muddy which they are, and made of just simple bricks, etc., those are called kacha roads or unmetalled roads. Then the underground tunnels which are dug up in the roads, the underground roads which are running, they are called subway or underpath. Okay. And then there are flyovers, that means the ones which are the roads which are made on a raised platform. Those are called flyovers. Now, all the examples are very, very clear. The road in front of your house is a pakka road. Whereas if you happen to go to a village, now so even villages have pakka roads, but then there are certain in front of the houses, maybe our houses, there could be kacha roads there still in the villages. Then the roads underground, which move inside and you go. So, like you can go to any other building or any other way, and you'll see the subway and underpass there. And the flyovers, obviously, you must have seen many. Then we come on to the next heading, railways. Railways are the cheapest means to carry goods and people from one place to another in large numbers. Now, a car has a capacity of four, five, or maybe maximum seven or eight. But see, the railways, they have the capacity of carrying innumerable people in a smallest amount of money, and large number of people could be travel from one place to another on a vehicle, say, like train or a railways. Invention of the steam engine and industrial revolution contributed a lot into the fast development of railways. So obviously, earlier the trains were run on the by like the first trains, they were driven by the uh, animals, but later on the steam engine, with the advancement, the steam engine was then replaced with the electrical engine. So they are talking about that the invention of a steam engine had brought about a mass industrial revolution, and it contributed into a fast development of railways. Now, steam engine has now been replaced by diesel and electric engines. So we all know that. Now, several superfast trains and express trains have been introduced to make journey faster. There are many fast running trains which are running at a great speed, and they are express trains also. They cover the journey much faster. We find dense network of railways in plain areas due to level and flat land, dense population and economic developments. Now, because of the flat lands on the plains, it is easier to construct network of roadways and railways in these areas because of the leveled land here and because of the dense population and economic development here. All this is possible. It is difficult to lay railway tracks in an uneven terrain or hilly regions, but advanced technology has made it possible to lay tracks in high mountains. Indian Railways is the largest railway network in Asia. Please underline that India has the largest network of railways in India. Very dense network, and all in all, it's a very successful and one of the best and the largest railway networks in Asia. Then we come on to waterways. You already know that the early people mainly used waterways to make trade relations with other countries. We all know that earlier the sea route was the easiest possible route and it was the cheapest one. Okay, connecting different countries. Basically, the inland water connects through rivers, but then the out from one country to another, you have to cross the oceans or the country sea water bodies. Okay, international water bodies. So these are the cheapest way to carry heavy and bulky goods. Now, the carrying it on a train would be very difficult. Supposing you want to take certain things on carrying it on a train would be very difficult. And if you are especially traveling abroad, like countries in America, you need to have the cheapest way of carrying heavy and bulky goods, and that is the waterways. So, mainly international trade takes place through waterways. Waterways are the cheapest because there is no need to invest money for their maintenance as we spend money for the maintenance of roads, railways, etc. We don't have to spend money on water because it's the cheapest way. Waterways are mainly of two types: inland waterways and sea routes. Now, inland, as I told you, the navigable rivers or the lakes, which are used as inland waterways within the country, like the Ganga and the Brahmaputra rivers in India. They are the best navigable rivers which help in traveling from one place to another. Now, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra rivers in India are the examples. Then they give you the example of the Great Lakes in North America and the River Nile in Africa are some examples of inland navigation or waterways. So specifically, if I ask you, name a river, name the uh, navigable rivers of India, obviously you will first thing do is you'll name Ganga and the Brahmaputra because they are the best examples of the navigable rivers which help in transportation of goods, which are especially heavy and in bulk they carry. Plus, they are the cheapest and they are inland. That means within the country. Okay, now we talk of oceanic routes or sea routes. Now, these are mostly used for transporting trade commodities and goods from one country to another. Now, these routes are connected with the ports. You know what ports are? The places where the ships are destined or they are harbored. Okay, it is the cheapest way of transporting goods and people from one country to another. The investment is needed only for the manufacturing of ships and for the development of ports. The important sea routes are, now before I move on to the important sea routes, so all we need in the waterways is the looking after of the ports and the manufacturing of strong and durable ships. We don't have to invest a lot of money in looking after the waterways. Why? Because the water does not need any maintenance. So now we talk of the various sea routes. First is the North Atlantic route. It connects the eastern USA with the western Europe. Please underline North Atlantic Sea route and the area which it connects: USA, Eastern USA with Western Europe. It is the busiest ocean route in the world. Please underline the busiest ocean route. Now, you all can see it on the map, the Atlantic Ocean, where it is, and the Eastern North America. Okay, it connects that part with the Western Europe. Okay, then next we come on to the second, the Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean route. Now, it connects industrially advanced countries of Europe with East Africa, South Asia, and Far East. Then third is the Cape of Good Hope. It is used between Western Europe and Far East, that is Australia and New Zealand. Before the construction of the Suez Canal, now it is used only to reach the West African countries. Now, till Suez Canal was not constructed, it was the Cape of Good Hope that was dealing with all the other Far East countries, Australia and New Zealand, but now it is only dealing with African countries. Now, some of the important ports of the world are, please underline the important ports: Singapore and Mumbai in Asia, New York, Los Angeles in North America, Rio de Janeiro in South America, Durban and Cape Town in Africa, and Sydney in Australia. So they have given you the important sea routes, and they have talked about the various ocean routes which are connected, and they have talked about the major important ports of the world, in which you also have your Mumbai, that means India, being talked of in Asia. Okay, when we talk of the continent Asia, the name of Singapore and Mumbai is talked of. Now, next we come on to airways, which we will take up in the next class. And in the next class, we'll finish off the chapter and we do the question answers.